Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be painting this Highland cow, and he's all ready for Christmas. We've got the ornaments hanging from his horns. He's got a candy cane in his mouth. It's going to be a lot of fun to paint, and I hope you join me. Let's get started. We're going to start out today by painting black around the background. So I'm going to use this little brush, little square brush, and I'm dipping it in water. I've got black, and let's get started. I'll have a list of colors that you'll be using, but they are red, tan, burnt sienna, dark brown, and white, and that's pretty much it. Now I'm using a round brush so that I could get in here where the ornaments are, because the square one was a little difficult to use. Now you notice I did cover the lines that hang from the horn, and we will go back over those later with a white color. You could use a black canvas. Some people are using black canvases for this painting, but I think it looks better if you just paint it, personally, but whatever's easier. Once you do the black background, let the painting dry and then move on to the next step. So we're just going to put this in here. It's always a little scary using black paint, but because it's hard to paint over. So just take your time, and we'll get this done. See, I like the big brush. You get the tip of it. You just put the paint on the very tip, and you can really have some control. You could always use a smaller brush though. I do have supply lists on my comments and descriptions. So if you're wondering which brushes to get to paint these. Now usually I paint an 11 by 14, but I'm just showing you on this, which is an 8 by 10. And this happens to just be a panel. It's not actually a large canvas. So the paint does go on here a little differently than when you get a canvas, but it'll be fine just to show you the steps to do this painting. So we're going to move on. We're going to paint the red hat, and we're going to use the same brush, and I've got a Tuscan red paint here that we're going to use. So let's get working on the hat. Like I said, this panel's a little different. It doesn't hold the paint quite as well as the canvas does, but it will show you step by step what I'm doing. And you can just follow along, paint with me, or just watch it for a while, stop it, paint, and then come back to the recording. I almost said tape. We don't use tapes anymore, Loretta. I like to go right up against the black. I don't like it when there's white lines showing between colors. So make sure your black is dry. Otherwise, the red will pick up some black and it will make it a very dark red. This is still a little wet, so I'm going to wait a minute and then I'll come and paint that red, the ornaments. So we've got the red in. Now we're going to start working on the head of the Highland cow, and we're going to start with the tan color, and we're going to paint around the eyes and the lower lip area above the nose. And just to get that part in, we've got 3 colors of brown we're going to be using. We're going to be using the tan, the medium brown, which is a burnt sienna, and dark brown. So we're going to start with the lightest brown. And back to my round brush. And I'm just going to start working in here around the eye. This is just like a basic color blocking we're doing right now, and then we'll come back and put a lot of the different streaks in after we put the basic color down. So don't worry about it too much. I like to try to paint over the lines when I know there's going to be white there. So that's why I kind of went over that line here. Okay, so you can paint along with me. I'm going to speed us up a little as I add more of the colors in here. One thing I did notice, I forgot to put red right here, so I'm going to do that now. And the red is part of the hat that's sticking out. So I'm going to drop that in now, and then I'm going to let the red dry before I work on this side of the Highland cow's hair. So let's just put this in. Good thing about acrylic paint is it dries really fast. So if you leave something out, you can always just put it in as you're working and then come back to that side later. We're going to work on this side. Okay, so we've got the base down for the Highland cow's fur, or hair rather, and we'll add the stripes later. Right now we're going to work on the horn, and it's white, and then I'm going to use a tiny bit of that tan color just at the bottom. So let's put a lot of white on the horn. So we're going to make it very thick. If you're using canvas, it's going to be a lot better. It holds the paint better than these panels. I just thought I'd try them for something different. I never use these for paint parties. I always use canvases that are 11 by 14. But these are great for practice painting or just to show techniques. And that's what I wanted to do with you today, is to show you the techniques I'm doing. We're painting this Highland cow because it's really a popular painting around the holidays. Check out my Etsy shop, Printables by Loretta, and you can get the tracer, supply list, and directions. And it's on sale for about $2, maybe $2.20. Now I added a touch of that tan color, and I'm just going to be putting a shadow down here like that, so that it looks rounded instead of just flat. So just a tiny touch of that color. And I'm blending it with the white. That's why I put a lot of white on there. And it's just underneath. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on this horn. So I'm starting with pure white. And I put a lot on so that I had some white to blend with the yellow or tan. It's more of a tan than yellow. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of that tan, tiny bit, and put it right down here and blend it with the white. And there we go. Okay, now I did a little too much there, so I'm cleaning off my brush and adding more white. Okay. And now we need to put some white on the candy cane stripes and the cotton. I'm going to clean off my brush, make sure I don't have any of that tan. And then I'm going to use very thick white on my brush and paint all this. Mix a little bit of tan with the red to do the nose, and I've got this number 10 brush, so tiny bit of red, and let's put some tan and see what color we come up with here. I'm trying to make like a dusty rose color. You could always use your plate as a palette. If you don't have a palette, I like using these during paint parties. Okay, I think I like that color. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. A little more of the tan in there. That's going to be black, so it's okay that I painted over the lines a little. I will bring it back with black later. I can still see the trace lines. It's really funny. So whenever I'm like halfway through a painting, I go, oh my God, this is not turning out. Just keep going. By the end, you're gonna like it. It'll be just fine. If you want, we can put another coat of red on the hat, and red tends to be a little bit transparent. So a lot of times it's good to put another coat of red down and it'll look better. The other thing I do at the end, after my paintings have dried for a day, I will get some varnish and I just paint it on. And I get the one from Deco Art, and it just makes everything, the colors come out more, they look prettier, and it just really makes your paintings pop. So I get it on Amazon or at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It's by Deco Art, and it's either high gloss or just a gloss varnish, whichever you like. If you want it really glossy, get the high gloss. Otherwise, just get a gloss. And it really, really helps make the paintings look finished. Okay, so I'm just doing this next, and then we're gonna work on we're going to put black in the eyes and black in here, and we've got to start working on their hair of the Highland cow with all different colors of browns, the tan, the burnt sienna, and we're going to use a little bit of black, and we're going to use the dark brown. Do you see how the second coat really helped bring out the color? The other thing that's going to help is at the very end I add highlights with white, and that always really makes the painting sparkle. I think that looks pretty good. We'll put a little more red in here. And a little bit more red in here. I used a Tuscan red. You can use a brighter red if you want. I just kind of like the feel of this. It's sort of a vintage feel. Okay, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. I hope you're having fun painting this. Please hit like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. That would be great. I would appreciate it. And also do check out my Etsy store. I do have a watercolor ebook. Oh my God. Okay, so I just added another ebook. It is a dessert cookbook that I made with my sister. She's a writer, Joanne Pence. She writes mystery novels. And we just put together a cookbook a few years ago, and I decided to make it into an ebook. And it has my watercolor paintings of different desserts, and we have recipes from our family desserts. We grew up in San Francisco, we're Italians. We've got a sweet tooth, to say the least, all of us. So we do have some great desserts in that recipe book. It's on my Etsy shop or my website, lorettabarra.com. Okay, I'm cleaning off the brush. I'm going to start working on, after I do the black in the eyes and the nose, I'm going to start working on doing different colors of swipes, just wispy hair to make. Let's add some white highlights on the fur, and then we're going to add some black lines in here. Let's see, actually, let's start with the white. We've got to put the lines here where the ornaments are also. So I'm going to start with the white. We're going to put highlight in the eye and a little highlight here. Highlights on here. And let's see, let's put some highlights in here. of snow. Highlights here. And I'm just putting dots of snow everywhere. Here we go. Now if you notice, I didn't put highlights down here because that's a little darker part of the Highland cow. The highlights will hit the top part, but probably not the bottom part of the fur. So that's why I didn't put highlights there. Okay, so then we're gonna come in with our black, and we're gonna do a little bit of black lines for lowlights. I'm just gonna add some black in here. I'm not pressing very hard because I don't want really, really thick lines. So I just messed that up. I'll come back with brown there. Okay, and then I'm gonna put some black here. Okay, the ornament lines are going to be, let's see, this one's going to come up here, and there's one here, and we've got another one here. Okay, a couple of touch-ups already. We've got some white here I've got to touch up. And I've got some brown here. Let it dry. Okay, now I've got to come in and do the white lines here because we've got black. So this is going to be a little difficult. There we go. Now what I should do is start at the bottom and meet the black. So I'm in the middle. And this one. It's hard to do. I always put my hand down on the table to try to have a little bit of a steady hand. So we've got that. I'm going to show you a trick really quick. Hold on one second. There are these pens that have their Poshka pens, and they actually have paint in them. So if you don't want to try to paint this, you can use one of these pens and try it that way. Just a trick. Okay, they come in different colors. Anyway, I think that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna let it dry, and tomorrow I could add a gloss on here and it'll bring out the colors. So hopefully you had fun watching that. I really appreciate your watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and hit that notification button for more videos to learn how to paint with acrylic and watercolor. Thanks for watching.